A single minute of video can tell a compelling story, but what happens when you watch the other 60 seconds?
Well, you usually find out that the story you just watched was, entirely manufactured.
Right. And that brings us to the absolute center of today's deep dive. I want you to just imagine the scene for a second. It's a packed, highly tense Senate hearing room.
Yeah, the cameras are just constantly clicking.
Exactly. And Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is sitting there all alone at the witness table, staring down this massive panel of lawmakers. But what unfolds isn't like some dry procedural debate over tax brackets.
Well, no, not at all.
Bessent goes totally head-to-head with Senators Hassan, Wyden, and Warren in this fiery, explosive exchange that just instantly floods social media. I mean, we're talking deeply personal insults about family members, dodging hard economic data, and these really aggressive accusations of insider trading.
Yeah, and almost instantly, this right-wing political commentary video dissecting the exact hearing just caught fire online.
It really did.
It's racking up views because it makes this massive claim. The video argues that politicians routinely use deceptively edited, 1-minute clips to manipulate voters and essentially hide basic economic facts.
Now, let's pause right here and get our ground rules straight for a second. We are looking at a piece of viral, highly partisan commentary today. And look, to be incredibly clear, this source video has a massive bias.
Right, it definitely does.
It strongly advocates for a right-wing perspective while taking some really heavy swings at the left. We aren't taking sides here, and we certainly aren't endorsing the politics of the video itself.
Exactly. Our goal is to put this video's claims under a microscope. Because honestly, whether you lean left, right, or center, the way these viral moments are sliced, diced, and weaponized, it literally changes how you see reality.
Yeah, that is the real mission for us today. We want to unpack the anatomy of these viral political hits. Like, how do the raw statistics actually stack up against the political rhetoric?
And more importantly, how did modern government oversight hearings transform into these performative, gladiator-style arenas that are just designed strictly for social media algorithms?
Right. So let's jump right into the center of the controversy here, which is the video edits themselves. The source video comes out swinging, arguing that political information is deliberately packaged and cut to keep you, the voter, completely in the dark.
Yeah.
And the narrator specifically points to a short video clip that was officially released by Senate Democrats. It shows Senator Maggie Hassan of New Hampshire confronting Bessent.
And it's a really aggressive confrontation. Senator Hassan throws some heavy, intimidating numbers right at Bessent. She looks straight at him and claims the average Granite Stater meeting her constituents in New Hampshire pays $3,000 more for basic goods.
$3,000, that's a huge number to just drop on someone.
Right. And she follows that up by stating the country just lost 100,000 manufacturing jobs.
And here's the crazy part. In the clip released online, right after she drops those massive numbers, the video just ends.
It just cuts right to black.
Exactly. If you're watching this on your phone, Bessent looks completely stunned. He just sits there in silence. It makes it look like he has absolutely no defense against these terrible economic statistics.
But then the viral commentary video plays the full, raw, unedited footage from the room. And the whole narrative just flips upside down.
Wait, so he didn't just sit there in silence?
Not at all. Bessent immediately fought back with his own hard numbers. He pointed out that food at home, which, is the government's statistical term for groceries, is only up 2.5%.
Oh, wow. 2.5%.
Yeah, and he didn't stop there either. He noted that a 2.5% increase is actually half the rate of inflation seen under the previous Biden administration.
Okay, I mean, I understand the strategy of a politician wanting to get the last word. It's kind of like a courtroom movie where the hotshot lawyer drops a dramatic accusation, points a finger at the witness, and just shouts no further questions.
Right, before the guy can even open his mouth to defend himself.
Exactly. But I have to push back here a little bit. Doesn't the public see through this? If a video cuts off abruptly right when someone is about to answer, my instinct is to go look for the rest of the clip. Does this editing trick actually work on a broad scale, or is it just red meat for people who, already agree with the video?
Well, it works remarkably well, actually. And it relies really heavily on the psychology of how we consume media today. Human brains suffer from this thing called the recency effect. We naturally remember the last thing we hear in a sequence.
Oh, I see.
But you have to add the endless scroll of social media to that. You aren't watching this clip in a vacuum. You are watching it while, waiting in line for coffee.
Right, you're distracted.
Exactly. The video ends, You feel a spike of outrage about paying $3,000 more, and you instantly scroll to the next video. You don't have the time or the incentive to go hunt down C-SPAN archives to see if Bessent actually responded.
So they completely bank on the viewer's short attention span. But hold on, let's look at the numbers themselves for a second. Hassan says families are paying $3,000 more. Bessent says groceries are only up 2.5%. Those sound like two completely different realities. Are they both just making things up?
No, and this is where the mechanics of political math get really fascinating. They're both using mathematically accurate numbers to tell completely opposing stories.
Wait, how does that work?
Well, Hassan is using a cumulative number. Yes, compared to a few years ago, families might be paying $3,000 more overall because prices went up and stayed up.
Okay, that makes sense. And Bessent?
Bessent is using a year-over-year rate of change. Groceries might only be climbing by 2.5% right now, which, is a low rate of inflation, but it's still piling on top of the old price hikes.
Ah, so they are just arguing completely past each other. She is talking about the total size of the bill, and he is talking about how fast the bill is currently growing.
Precisely. And when Senator Hassan realizes Bessent is fighting back with a different set of valid data, she tries to shut the conversation down entirely.
Oh, really? What does she do?
In the raw footage, she quickly says, "Let's move on." And the commentary video argues this is the core strategy of the left. Drop a quick, terrifying statistic, refuse to let the witness explain the nuance, say, "Let's move on," and then just chop the video right there so the defense literally ceases to exist in the digital world.
Wow. Manipulating the footage after the fact is one thing, right? You can control the narrative from an editing bay. But Bessent can't edit the video live in the room.
No, he has to deal with it right then and there.
Right. When the next lawmaker comes at him, he has to handle it in real time. Which takes us to the confrontation with Senator Ron Wyden.
Yeah, and this moment is incredibly intense. Senator Wyden goes on the attack, targeting President Trump's buildings and economic deals. He goes so far as to label the administration a corrupt regime. It is a direct hit on the core policies of the Treasury.
And instead of defending the policy or, explaining the economic deals, Bessent pulls out this massive, highly personal shield. He accuses Wyden of slandering the Treasury Department just to hide a dark family secret.
Yeah, it's wild. Bessent claims Wyden's son, Adam Wyden, had an investment meeting with the disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein.
I mean, it escalates so quickly.
Yeah.
Bessent actually names Adam's largest investment on the record, a business called Rick's Cabaret.
Right, a strip club.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then he looks right at Senator Wyden and provocatively asks if his son and Epstein discussed pole dancing while begging Epstein for money.
Yeah.
I am still hung up on this moment. It just feels like high school bullying. It's like taking your car to a mechanic because the brakes failed, and instead of looking at the brake pads, the mechanic insults your family's driving history.
That's a great analogy.
You never get an answer about the car. How does a sitting United States senator just let that happen? Why didn't Wyden just demand an answer to his original policy question?
Because of the unseen mechanics of the room. This isn't a free-flowing debate, Senate hearings run on a very strict, unforgiving clock.
Right.
Every senator gets exactly 5 minutes to ask their questions and get their answers. You can actually see the little timers with flashing lights on their desks.
Ah, okay, so time is the actual weapon here.
Exactly. When a government official faces a dangerous policy question, answering it directly carries immense risk. If they stumble, it's a total disaster. But if they throw a shocking, deeply personal insult at the lawmaker, they fundamentally break the structure of the clock. Bessent created a massive distraction.
Because now Wyden has to make a split-second choice.
Right. Wyden looks at his ticking clock. He has maybe 3 minutes left. Does he spend those precious minutes defending his son's business meetings on national television?
Which would just eat up all his time.
Exactly. If he does that, his time expires. He never gets to the policy question anyway. Or does he just drop it? And the source video highlights Wyden's physical reaction here. He turned beet red. He looked visibly rattled.
I mean, anyone would be.
Right. But he didn't defend his son. He simply asked the chairman if he could proceed with his questions.
That is just wild. The tactic worked perfectly for Bessent. He ate the clock and completely derailed the attack. but it comes at a massive cost to the public.
It really does.
We never got the answer about the administration's economic deals. The oversight process it short-circuited entirely.
Which perfectly sets up the next major clash, because the strategy of aggressive deflection reaches its absolute peak during the showdown with Senator Elizabeth Warren.
Oh, man, yeah.
Here, the fight moves away from family insults and directly into heavy legal and ethical accusations.
Senator Warren definitely does not hold back. She directly accuses President Trump of insider trading. She points to specific stock buys companies like Nvidia, Robinhood, and BNY Mellon.
Right.
And she notes that these purchases happened right before the administration announced policy changes that benefited those exact companies. She looks right at Bessent and demands that he push for an SEC investigation.
And Bessent's very first move is to claim a total lack of jurisdiction. He refuses to make a legal judgment, stating flatly, "I'm not a lawyer."
Okay, stop right there. I have to call foul on that. He is the Treasury Secretary of the United States. He oversees massive portions of the financial system. How does he just shrug his shoulders and say, "I'm not a lawyer," when asked about blatant stock market manipulation?
Because technically, in the very rigid structure of the federal government, he is right. The Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, is an independent agency. The Treasury Secretary does not have the legal authority to simply order the SEC to launch an insider trading probe into the president.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So by saying, "I'm not a lawyer," he is building a bureaucratic wall. He is essentially saying, you're asking the wrong guy in the wrong building.
Okay, so he sidesteps the trap. But he doesn't just stop at sidestepping. He pivots and throws a punch right back at Congress.
He absolutely does.
He tells the Senate committee to, quote, get its house in order first. He points out that he personally owns 0 individual stocks, and he argues that lawmakers should follow their own existing trading laws before they start pointing fingers at the White House.
And this is a devastating counterattack because it targets a very real vulnerability. The source video leans really heavily into this. Members of Congress have a long, heavily criticized history of trading stocks in industries they personally regulate.
Right, the Stock Act.
Exactly.
Correct.
There is a law called the Stock Act meant to stop this, but enforcement is notoriously weak. So Bessent is essentially saying, if you all are getting rich off your committee knowledge, how can you sit there and investigate the president for doing the exact same thing?
Isn't that just classic whataboutism? I mean, look, I get the frustration. Both sides clearly have massive ethical blind spots when it comes to the stock market. But when they just point fingers at each other like Spider-Man memes, does anyone actually get held accountable?
No, they really don't.
Or does this just make the public throw their hands up and tune out entirely?
It absolutely makes the public tune out, and honestly, that is often the unstated goal. Whataboutism isn't designed to prove innocence. It is designed to prove universal guilt.
Oh, yeah.
When Bessent points at Congress's trading habits, he isn't answering the question about Nvidia. He is creating a stalemate.
Weaponized apathy.
That is a perfect way to put it. When voters watch the highest officials in the country just scream about each other's corruption without anyone taking responsibility, it breeds deep exhaustion. People stop caring because they assume everyone is guilty. The accountability system just grinds to a total halt.
Which is incredibly dark when you think about it. We are basically watching the gears of government oversight completely freeze up in real time, and the hostility isn't just contained to the people in the room either.
No, it spreads.
Yeah, this brings us to a really bizarre part of the source video. Bessent suddenly starts launching attacks at political rivals who are thousands of miles away.
You're talking about the unprompted shots at California Governor Gavin Newsom.
Unprompted is an understatement. Bessent just goes off. He calls the governor a brontosaurus with a brain the size of a walnut.
Just totally out of left field.
Yeah, he mocks Newsom's hairdo. He even suggests the governor brought knee pads to a meeting with the billionaire Alex Soros.
And the right-wing commentary video absolutely celebrates this sequence.
Yeah.
The narrator praises Bessent, literally calling him an annihilator.
An annihilator.
Yes. The video frames him as this fierce protector of the Magie movement, standing strong against a corrupt coastal establishment.
But I am trying to find the logical thread here. What does Gavin Newsom's hair have to do with the Treasury Department? Or inflation? Or, the broader economy?
Absolutely nothing. Zero. And that is actually the most revealing part of this entire hearing.
So what is the point? If the primary goal of these government hearings is just to produce crude insults and mic drop moments for YouTube, have we entirely lost the actual purpose of congressional oversight? Like, why do we even hold these hearings?
Well, if we look at the shifting incentive structure of Washington, the answer is pretty alarming. Historically, a Senate hearing was an information gathering tool. It was a space where lawmakers could grill experts, understand complex mechanics, and basically figure out how to write better laws. But today, the hearing room is often treated like a television soundstage.
They aren't talking to each other, they're talking to the cameras.
Precisely. Both the politicians and the witnesses understand the modern media ecosystem. They know that a dry, nuanced, 20-minute discussion about the cumulative impact of inflation on manufacturing supply chains that will never make the evening news.
And it certainly won't trigger the algorithms on TikTok.
Exactly. But a Treasury Secretary calling a high-profile governor a walnut-brained brontosaurus, that generates millions of clicks instantly. It raises fundraising dollars. It feeds the political base.
It turns government into professional wrestling. You come in, you smash a chair over somebody's head, the crowd goes wild, and you walk out.
That is the perfect analogy.
Yeah.
The performative arena rewards shock and conflict, not careful oversight. The viral video we are analyzing today exists entirely because of this dynamic.
Right.
The creator of the video didn't build a narrative around Bessent's fiscal policy plans. They built an entire highly viewed narrative around these explosive, disconnected moments of combat.
Wow. We have covered a massive amount of ground today, unpacking the machinery behind these viral moments. We started by looking at the pure power of the video edit.
Yeah, that was huge.
The source video showed us exactly how a crucial piece of context like Bessent pointing out that grocery inflation is currently at 2.5% can be completely erased from the digital record, just leaving the viewer with only half the story.
We also pulled back the curtain on how time operates as a weapon. We saw Bessent use the shock value of a Jeffrey Epstein accusation to intentionally burn the clock, completely shutting down Senator Wyden's aggressive questions about economic policy.
And we broke down the ethical standoff between Senator Warren and Bessent over the NVIDIA stock trades. Neither side was actually trying to solve the problem. They were just deploying whataboutism to freeze the oversight process and breed voter exhaustion.
Right.
And through it all, we saw how the hearing room has transformed into a stage for algorithm-friendly insults like the bizarre attacks on Gavin Newsom. And we explored all these tactics neutrally today, just looking at the mechanics of the fight.
It paints a very clear picture. We have a political system that focuses heavily on producing the fight itself rather than, solving the facts underneath the fight.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So next time you see a viral political clip pop up on your feed, no matter what side of the aisle it comes from, take a beat. Ask yourself, what exactly did the 30 seconds right before and right after this moment look like, and who benefits from you not seeing it?